Girl, I've been dating now for about a year and a half. I'm in my late 30s. She's in her mid 30s. It's time to just kind of keep going through those motions of relationships moving on. And beautiful girl. She, checks all the boxes, cooks dinner, doesn't fight against much of what I ask for. But more recently, two things have kind of come up that are a little bit more irritating. One is the lack of, she tends to go a longer period of time without shaving her legs, and is a little gassy openly while we're at home together. And I'm hoping that, obviously she's not listening or anything close to that. And I've asked
so she's a hairy farter.
Yeah. And honestly, she's a beautiful blonde hair, green eyes, great physique, a beautiful girl. So it's not something that, she's not atrocious in any way.
Yeah.
And I've just, more recently I've said, look, these are things that I expect you to kind of maintain a feminist personality in place, and I'm going to maintain my masculine side.
Yeah.
And for these two particular things, I've found them to be, not appealing. It's been going on now for like 4 or 5 months where I am consistently saying, hey, come on, I don't find that attractive. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Am I asking for something that is, unreasonable?
No. No, I don't think so at all. Look, man, I've met very, very few women that let them rip in front of you. I mean, if they got to let one rip, they're usually pretty quiet about it, really discreet. Like They don't even notice it. They don't want to play like musical farts or anything like that. Do humans fart? Yes. But for women to do it, it's not very feminine. It's not a turn on. I completely agree with what you're saying. Did she do it when you first met her?
No, not at all. And
how many weeks, months in did she start doing that?
We've been dating for about a year and a half now, and I would tell you over the last 5 to 6 months, it's become more of a, she does it and kind of laughs, right? Yeah. It's not smelly. It's not after, it's her own personal digestive issues, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not happening in public. It's just at the confines of our home, laying on the couch, and
yeah.
Somebody
said here in the chat, it's disrespectful, right? Because it's a turn off to you. So the way that I would handle that is like, look, you need to keep doing what got you in the door. Okay. Like I chose you, and I'm still continuing to choose you, but this is irritating. So knock it off. I'm not going to tolerate this. You need to stop doing this. If you've got gas issues, or if you got some indigestion, or you got something that's creating the gas, then figure it out. Go to a doctor, figure out what it is. You've probably got some inflammatory responses to certain types of food that you're taking, or eating. There's a MRT test. It's called MRT Leap. If you want to jot this down, and it's $1,000. It's $1,000 blood test, and what they'll do is they'll test your blood up against different foods, and they'll tell you what kind of foods cause inflammation against the blood. It's a histamine test. I've done it. I'm on a special diet because of it, and I'll tell you one of the things that happened, right away when I went on the diet is I stopped farting. I fart like almost never now, right? When guys fart, it's not a big deal. It's kind of expected, for guys to like let them rip and have a laugh, but it's not.
I don't even do that. Fortunately, I don't have that problem, right?
I mean, like some people have that problem, like where they just get gas from certain foods. Like you can fix it, right? I mean, clearly she knew that it was unattractive when she met you, and she was on her best behavior. And then when she sat you down and said, "Greg, I dig your vibe. I don't want to share you. I want to claim you. Where do we stand?" And you're looking at her going, "Yep, sounds good." And then she just starts letting them rip, when she gets comfortable. Well, what's she going to do if you guys have kids together? Like, what's she going to do if you guys live together full time? What's she going to do if you guys decide to do something like get married, right? If, she's letting herself go in that sense. Same thing with the leg hair, right? Like, I mean, if you don't keep yourself looking tidy and nice, you're not going to be attractive, right? Like if you don't keep your haircut or your beard tight, like if I grew one of these shitty ass, like homeless beards and just look like nasty, I would be a turn off to my gal, right? But I don't. I keep it tight. I go in every week. The guy cleans it up for me. I'm on a schedule. Like I maintain a certain standard because it's incumbent upon me as a man to maintain certain standards of, you know, masculinity and strength and all these other things that I always talk about. So I would just go back to, look, you know, you need to keep doing what got you in the door. If you stop doing what got you in the door, then that's going to be a problem. And this doesn't have legs. Like, this is going to end. Right.
Right.
So,
And her position on that is because we're at that point now where I've, you know, brought it up and it's become a more serious topic where there's, you know,
yeah,
half a bag of stuff packed, ready to call it quits in both directions over what, you know, over these these smaller issues in the grand scheme of relationships. And, you know, her position is you should love me for who I am. If
bullshit.
the tide was turned,
She would
and
not love you
will,
if you went broke, Greg. You got loads of real estate. You're a successful guy. You got things going on in your life. Like, you've called in before.
yeah,
I know the name, right? Like, you're not a bum. If you lost everything, okay, she would not love you for who you are. She would start looking elsewhere. So that whole, you know, love me for who I am bullshit. No, women are beauty objects. Are supposed to be feminine, right? They were told from, you know, the get-go, sugar and spice and all things nice. So start behaving and acting in accordance with what women are. If you can't do that, if you can't behave in a feminine way, and you want to let them rip, and you're going to be, you know, growing leg hair and, you know, getting lazy and shit, I'm just going to replace you. It's as simple as that.
10-4. That was what I wasn't expecting any different of.
Raise your standards, you know, just like the last guy. It's raise your standards. Or, you know, in your case, all you're doing is, you already had standards and she already has standards, but she got lazy and relaxed and grew leg hair and started farting. Like, what's next? She's going to get fat?
That would be I'm gonna drop off this call before I say anything else to get myself in trouble, because I've turned on some of her friends, her guy friends, or to watching the show. So
yeah,
it's my cue to go.
It's up to you guys to set these boundaries and to maintain them, right? Women will get lazy if you let them. Sounds cool, Greg?
Thank you, sir.
All right, brother. Look, guys, you know, if you're dealing with a chick, you're dating, she's doing all the right things. She's coming over, she's cooking you meals, she's making your bed in the morning, you know, she's cleaning up after herself. Women will start to get lazy over time. It's just part of the nature of relationships as they sort of develop. You get comfortable. Getting comfortable in the sense or the regard where you're letting, like, if you're a woman and you're letting farts rip, if you're letting like your leg hair grow and you're not keeping yourself tidy and feminine, you know, that's going to lead to getting fat. It's going to get, you know, it's going to lead to other things. Like, you know, you've got to have these conversations. You know, if she starts with, let's say, you know, something simple like, you know, she comes over, she makes your bed in the morning before she leaves, kisses you goodbye, I'll see you whenever, sort of thing. And she starts to get lazy and stop making the bed. It's up to you as a guy to enforce that boundary that, you know, that was set, that standard that had existed, because women have to keep doing what they did to get themselves in the door. If they stop doing what got them in the door and got the commitment, then they don't get to keep the commitment. It's as simple as that. So you need to figure out a way to deliver that message. It doesn't have to be terse. It doesn't have to be mean or unkind, but kind men still know how to enforce boundaries. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.